Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory belong to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Akakodash. Double honors unto the elders and to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the open elect. Alright, the men that are pushing this word out in truth and in sincerity. Alright, this is Brother Yakal coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Alright, and this lesson basically gonna be entitled the prophecies, all right, and why we're on the streets. Because you out on the streets, you preaching. It's odd, to people out there, all right, because they don't understand why is it that we on the streets teaching, and everybody have this Christian mentality, this Christian mindset that you gotta build a church. You gotta be tucked away somewhere behind closed doors, preaching to a select few. All right, or basically preaching to people that will come to your church, right? But we understand that the word church basically means, I'll go back to the word Ecclesiastes, which means I'll call out. All right, and basically that's what we do. We are the true church. We are calling out, to the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. But again, to the untrained eye, or to the people that don't know or do not have the understanding, or that are trapped in Esau's delusion, all right, are gonna think that what we being out there, dressed the way that we dress in terms of the garments, having the signs, that we preach and teach with, they're gonna think it's something it's odd to them. They see it as something odd. So basically, I want to get into this lesson, and by the way, this lesson is inspired from the lesson that Apostle Gabar did. I can't remember the title, but he recently did a lesson on it. So basically, the scriptures say that let me get this. Let me start it off like this, because the men, all right, of Great Millstone, the number one thing that we preach and teach is the prophecies. The apostles, have been pushing prophecies, and we've been very, very, very big on prophecies. All right. Let me get this. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I shall put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." It says what? Speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecies. All right, and that's what we do. We preach to the people. We go out there and we teach, the words of prophecies. We breaking down the MOTB, breaking down World War III is about to come to pass, breaking down the famine, breaking down Jacob's trouble, all right, which the apostle dubbed this year as the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble coming to pass. And we all in that spirit, open and praying that indeed this is the year, when that MOTB gonna become mandatory, and Jacob trouble pop off. All right. So so basically we preaching, prophecy. That's what we're about. That's what we're teaching. All right. So what's one major prophecy that gonna come to pass in these latter times? What's a major prophecy that gonna come to pass in these times? All right, here it is. This is Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 20. It says, "And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction," all right, which that's referring to the hardcore bondage that we've been under. We've been under hardcore bondage. The scripture tell you what, that the children of Judah and the children of Israel are oppressed together. So it says, give you the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed into a corner anymore, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers. All right, because there was one period of time, all right, that, you know, the men of the Lord weren't out there, you know, teaching. All right, there was a period of time where the entire nation of Israel, you know, basically was discontinued from our heritage. All right, for a matter of fact, let me get that. This is Jeremiah chapter, is it 9 and 14? Or 14 and 9? Let me search it up. It's been a while since he went through these basic scriptures. You know, because these are the scriptures that, you know, basically convince you, you know, that you are an Israelite indeed. But let me see. It's 12 and 9. No. Yeah, Jeremiah 17 and verse 4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I give thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine heart, which shall burn forever. You know, so we have been discontinued, or a period of time. There was a period of time, you know, stemming from the transatlantic slave trade. You know, when we came over here in the Americas, that's where we basically discontinued from our heritage, because all the other captivities, all right, when we were delivered from them, hey, we still had a semblance of what our heritage is. You know, we still had some sort of recollection of what the heritage was. All right, or is rather, you know, but in this time, you know, under the transatlantic slave trade, Esau Edom basically did everything in his power, you know, to cause us to forget Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You know, when you look at the Willie Lynch letter, it tell you what, like, hey, basically they destroyed the older generation, or the older men, all right, and then raised up the young men now, you know, to think a certain way, you know, and in a certain culture. All right, even look at basically looking at the similar situation that they did under Antiochus Epiphanes, you know, when he wrote to that to his entire kingdom that all should become one people. It's the same thing, you know, that was done on a very, very good scale, all right, in the transatlantic slave trade, you know, where all the subjects of America, all right, or Esau Edom, you know, were taught to become Edomites, you know. So, you know, basically that's the point, that we are discontinued from our heritage. All right, so going back to Isaiah chapter 13 verse 20, you know, it says what? The teachers shall, Isaiah 13:20, and though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teacher be removed into a corner any more, but thine eyes shall see thy teachers, and thine ears shall hear a word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk ye in it, when ye turn to the right hand, and when ye turn to the left. Exactly, you know. So, hey, and I could testify, that's how I basically heard about this truth. You know, one I think it was a Friday or something, can't remember the exact day, but I was walking down you know, Regent Street basically, which is a very, 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 or the most busy street in all of Guyana. All right, it's in the capital city, and it's where all of the stores are, whether it be hardware stores, whether it be household appliances, you want whatever it is. You know, it's a very, very busy street for all sorts of commerce. You know, whether you're trying to buy gold and diamond, whatever it is. You know, and the head brother of the camp, you know, he was there teaching by himself. You know, and he had the signs out. All right, and he was going into I can remember it like it was yesterday. All right, he was going into John chapter 12 and verse 9, I believe it is. All right, and the scripture read that the Most High hated sinners. All right, and he was saying, hey, the Most High hated sinners. So when these Christian churches tell you about the Most High hate the sinner, not the sinner, is a lie. And you know, he was going in, and I walking by, and I could hear it at the back of my you know, basically hear what you were saying behind me, and it registered in my mind like, yo, I never hear the scriptures break down like this. I've never heard this particular scripture, you know, and I you know, basically you could say grew up in a Christian household. All right, you know, so just hearing that, I was like, yo, this is different. All right, and then a few I think it was weeks or months later, you know, the brother, yeah, what's up, you know, he's he came into the truth a couple of months before me, but prior to that, Yawsap and I had worked at a particular workplace together. That's how we met. All right, and you know, we always used to talk about the Bible. You know, we always used to talk about Bible. Hey, you know, I read this book, I read that book. You know, and then even on our lunch break, you know, while working at this particular place, we just used to get together and do like Bible studies. You know, so when he found the truth, the first person he thought to call was me. You know, or probably not the first person, but somewhere in that range. Hey, you know, he called me. I was like, hey, there's these guys preaching, whatever, bop, bop, bop. You know, you should come out and listen. All right. And I remember when yeah, I remembered when Salakia. Let me just put this phone on airplane mode. Yeah, I remembered when you know, when we meet up the Saturday evening, you know, before we enter the camp, he was like, yo, you know, these men dress a little different. You know, they're gonna be preaching stuff that you never heard before. You know, but basically ask you questions, and hey, they're gonna answer through the scriptures. I was like, yo, hey, ain't nothing wrong. You know, I get the understanding, whatever. Right? But there was also the brother Garasham, you know, which is no longer with us. But I know him from small days, basically. All right, and he had reached out to me and was teaching me also. So whenever I met up with Yawsap and I went to the camp, it's like, yo, everything just coincide. All right, and then I stumble upon the scripture in Corinthians that tell you what, in the mouth of two or three, let all things be established, or let all things be true. All right, you know, roughly paraphrasing that precept. So everything just fulfilled. You know, everything just aligned. All right, but I went into that to say, hey, that's how the prophecies are being fulfilled. All right, this is a very, very major prophecy that's being fulfilled. That your eyes gonna see your teachers, you know, and you're gonna hear that word behind you. Hey, when these men are locked up in these churches, you ain't seeing your teachers. Your eyes not seeing your teachers. Your ears, you ain't gonna hear a word behind you saying this is the way. Meaning, as you pass by, the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai gonna be broken down the correct way. All right, but you're not gonna find that if the teachers are hidden in a building in some remote part of the village or the country or whatever. All right. It doesn't go like that. Now the scripture tell you in Proverbs, right? Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 20. It says, wisdom cried without, she uttered her voice in the streets. You know? So that's where the wisdom of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai gonna be going forth in the streets. You know, not in a church, not in a building, you know, locked up. The scripture tell you in Acts chapter 7 and verse 48 that the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands. You know, so how then can you say, hey, this is where, you know, this is where, or how can you say that the men that are out on the streets teaching, following the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, how can you say that these men are not the true teachers? When these men are literally fulfilling the prophecies, breaking the scriptures down the correct way, you know? And I basically saying the men that are breaking the scriptures down the correct way, those are the true prophets, because there's a lot of other camps, you know, and men that you know, that are doing their thing, you know, that go out on the streets as well. All right, but you got to look to the men that break the scriptures down the right way, that have 100% truth. You know? So yeah, and even Yahushua, you know, told his disciples to go out on the highways and byways. All right? Let me see. I typed in I think that's in Matthew 22. Yeah, this is Matthew chapter 22 and verse 9. It says, then said he to his servants, the wedding is ready, but they which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage. All right, it says as many, go to the highways. That's the point. Go to the highways. What's the highways? The chief place. You know, the chief place. That's where we go. That's where we teach. That's where the apostles were ordered to go. You know, and bid all men to the marriage. You know, and then you're gonna find some that are worthy and some that are not worthy. You see? But basically, you know, that's the point, that hey, this thing is all about prophecy. All right, and that's a major prophecy that had to be fulfilled, and that is being fulfilled. You know. So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Kodash. Double honors unto the elders and to the apostles of great and stone, and salutations to the hopefully elect. All right. Shalom.